I know what you're thinking. The image in the thumbnail has to be a render, or maybe it's AI generated. It's not. This car was built in the mid-1960s. It's documented, it's registered, and it's still around today. You could even say it's the rarest version of the iconic Shelby Cobra most people have never heard of. And in this video, we're taking a closer look at how it came to life. To understand how we got here, we need to talk about Virgil Exner. After World War II, car design changed fast. Engineers were introducing overhead valve V8s, automatic transmissions, torsion bar suspensions, compact air conditioning systems. At the same time, designers were going wild with show cars. Automakers were competing to show who could build the most futuristic, dramatic concept. Designers became celebrities. Their influence spread beyond cars into furniture, appliances, and service stations. Cars were at the center of American life, and the people drawing them were becoming household names. Exner was one of them. He started at General Motors and is credited with creating Pontiac's Silver Streak. In 1938, he joined Raymond Loewy and later helped shape the dramatic 1947 Studebakers. Those cars shocked people at the time. Flat body sides, rear fenders that pushed forward visually, wraparound glass that looked like it came from the future. There was tension between Exner and Loewy. After disagreements, Exner left and joined Chrysler. That's where things really took off. At Chrysler, he eventually created the redesigned 1955 Chryslers known as the $100 million look, followed by the famous 1957 forward-look cars. For the first time in decades, Chrysler pulled design leadership away from General Motors. That wasn't a small achievement. Chrysler even gave him his own studio to create one-off show cars. Before that, they had been outsourcing show cars to Ghia in Italy. Under Exner's direction, cars like the Dodge Firebomb, Plymouth Explorer, DeSoto Adventure, Dodge Fire Arrow, and Chrysler Delegance set the tone for Chrysler's public image. By 1957, he became Chrysler's first vice president of design. He retired in 1964 and started his own consultancy. He still worked with Ghia and contributed to projects like the Celine II concept, the Renault Caravelle, and the Volkswagen 1500. Around this time, Esquire magazine approached him with a fun idea. What would famous classic cars look like if reimagined for the 1960s? That question was right in Exner's comfort zone. He and his son, Virgil Exner Jr., created 4 updated classics for the December 1963 issue of Esquire: a modern Stutz, a modern Duesenberg, a modern Packard, and a modern Mercer raceabout. Exner loved long hood, short deck proportions. He believed older classic cars had character that modern luxury cars were losing. He wanted to bring that spirit into contemporary design. The illustrations were a hit. At nearly the same time, George Hartley, president of the Copper Development Association, saw the Mercer drawing. The original Mercer from the brass era featured brass and copper details. Exner's modern rendering had them too. Hartley basically said, "Let's build it." The Copper Development Association wanted to demonstrate practical modern uses of copper in automobiles, so they hired Exner to turn that sketch into a real running car. Now here's where it gets interesting. The Cobra half of the Mercer Cobra came from Carroll Shelby. Shelby was the exclusive U.S. distributor for AC cars, so the Exners ordered a bare Cobra chassis. It came with axles, disc brakes, suspension, wheels, a Ford V8, gearbox, radiator, and wiring, almost ready to go. This chassis, CSX 2451, is documented in the Shelby American World Registry. It was sold new through Shelby American in February 1964. AC cars could pull chassis off the production line before a body was installed. That made it easy for coach builders to create custom bodies. For this project, the wheelbase was stretched to 108 inches. At first, Exner considered Ghia to build the body, but Ghia was struggling financially. Designer Brooks Stevens recommended a smaller Italian coach builder in Turin called Carrozzeria Sebona Bassano. Stevens later described the place as having chickens running around the yard and junk scattered everywhere. Not exactly the image of a polished design house, yet they produced excellent bodywork and charged less than Ghia. Exner and his son finalized the design. Sebona Bassano shaped the metal around the Cobra chassis. The body and chassis were steel, but nearly everything decorative was copper or a copper-based alloy. Financially, the project worked out well for Exner. The underlying Cobra cost $2,800. Delivery to Turin brought that to $3,019. The coachwork cost $10,400. The final contract with the Copper Development Association totaled $35,000. That's a serious return for a concept car built to showcase medals. The finished Mercer Cobra debuted in late 1964. It was painted pearl white with a black leather interior and featured a full-width curved plexiglass windscreen. The proportions were dramatic. Long hood, passenger compartment pushed back, blade-like front fenders open along the hood sides, short rear fenders with separate mudguards, a long, tapered rear deck. The grille was pure brass-era inspiration. 8 large brass elements ahead of mesh stone guards. The headlights were mounted on pivots. When turned off, they swung back flush with the nose, keeping the front end clean and streamlined. It's one of those details that makes you stop and stare. The car rode on 16-inch wire wheels with multi-piece brass covers. 11 different copper-based materials and finishes were used throughout the car. Brass, bronze, silicon bronze, high-strength chromium copper alloy. Interior trim, seatbacks, door panels, and dashboard gauges featured copper elements. The steering wheel spokes were made from a chromium copper alloy. Exterior moldings used silicon bronze. The taillights were recessed in brass tunnels integrated into the rear mudguards. Even the engine received the treatment. The 4.7-liter V8 wore brass and copper finishes on the valve covers, air cleaner, oil filler cap, and dipstick housing. A silicon bronze heat shield protected occupants from the chrome-plated side exhaust pipes. The four-wheel disc brakes were made from copper alloy, taking advantage of copper's high heat transfer properties. To keep everything looking sharp, the brass and copper pieces were coated with acrylic to prevent discoloration. Chrome was used sparingly, mostly layered over brass to complement the warm tones. The Mercer Cobra toured globally for about a decade, appearing at shows and technical gatherings across 6 continents. It earned a 6-page feature in the winter 1964 issue of Automobile Quarterly. Over time, advances in synthetic materials and crash standards reduced the relevance of some of its ideas. Still, the car never stopped being distinctive. In the early 1970s, it entered the collection of Joe Bortz. It later passed through Jim Southard, Al Wright, and Tom Barrett before joining the Lion Family Collection in 1989, where it has remained ever since. It was never meant to be driven regularly, yet it runs, it drives, it remains largely as it left Sibona Bassano in 1964. It has appeared at the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance and participated in a 2007 University of Notre Dame event celebrating Exner's legacy. What makes this car fascinating isn't just the materials, it's the mindset behind it. A trade association wanted to promote copper. A legendary designer wanted to revive classic proportions. A Cobra chassis offered modern performance. An Italian coach builder shaped the metal. And somehow all of that came together into one car. It's bold. It's slightly over the top. It's unmistakably Exner. And honestly, that's what makes it great. If you park this next to a standard Cobra, most people would stare at this one first. Not because it's louder, not because it's faster, but because it looks like it's stepped out of another era, fully dressed in copper and brass. The information in this video was gathered from the sources shown on screen. As always, you can find the sources in the Google Doc linked in the description. I recommend checking them out for more details. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe and click on the recommended video that appears on the screen. It's all about the Corvair. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.